Welcome to this week's edition of the Inside Pitch. I'm your host, Kenny Ayers, joined here by Evan Smith in the studios. Today we're going to be talking about the National League East and how they shape up in terms of their offense and pitching with some offseason acquisitions. Now, Evan, the NL East really made a huge splash in the offseason. What about the Washington Nationals with the acquisitions of Denard Span and for their lineup as a leadoff guy, and then also Dan Herron to bolster their rotation?
Right, yeah, they got two big guys right there. That's going to be a big addition. Denard Span's going to be a terrific leadoff hitter. I could see him, starting things up for the team. Dan Herron is definitely going to be a guy who he's a proven starter, so he's going to definitely be a good impact for the team. And they also picked up Rafael Soriano, who did really well for the Yankees last year, so expect him to do good things for them at the back end of the bullpen.
When you have a guy like Span leading off, and you have a guy like Bryce Harper, Jason Worth, even with losing Michael Morse, you're obviously going to get runs out of that. How much does that affect guys like Jason Worth, who are RBI guys, having Denard Span at the top of the lineup?
Right. Anytime you get guys on base and in scoring position, that always makes it better for the team. Obviously to better position for them to drive in RBIs. You got Harper, who's very fast already, young talent. Denard Span is a very fast guy. So anytime you have speed, they have the potential to steal bases, which is definitely a big impact for the team.
Now, Washington, we'll get to this later, but I'd say Washington is probably one of the strongest teams in the NL East. But in terms of offseason acquisitions, I think the Atlanta Braves probably made the biggest splash. When you look at their outfield, you got Jason Hayward in right, who's a 30 home run, 100 RBI guy. He's fast. He's a good fielder. He has a cannon for an arm. Then you add B.J. Upton in center field and Justin Upton in left field. And right there, you probably have the most productive and one of the best defensive lineups in all of baseball.
Oh yeah, I would definitely agree with you right there. The Upton acquisition was really crucial for the team. Both of them. Fun fact, they actually both hit the 100th home run on the same day last year. So I think they're going to push each other and strive for superstardom. As they're already great players, but I look for them to be at the next level. I also agree with Jason Hayward's a young talent. He's also going to be very good in the lineup. And they're young, and I know they lost Chipper Jones, obviously a veteran player who key leader on the team, but look for the young guys to step up and really do damage.
Do you think having guys like acquisitions like the Upton brothers, do you think that's going to push Dan Uggla to try to work harder and maybe up his average and get back to where he was a couple years ago?
Right, hopefully, yeah. He had a very nice hit streak last year, which is surprising because he's not really a great average hitter, and he still had a pretty low average. He's more of a power guy, obviously, but at the same time, I think he will be motivated by seeing other guys work hard around him, so yeah, certainly.
Now, let's move on to the Phillies. Obviously, they had a really bad year last year, finished at .500. It was their first year since 2007 they didn't make the playoffs, and in 2011 they finished with 103 wins. So,
right.
Obviously a down year for them. But healthy Ryan Howard, healthy Chase Utley, and offseason acquisitions. Ben Revere you got at the top of the lineup. Hopefully, you don't know what's going to happen with Jimmy Rollins. They like to keep him leadoff,
right.
But it's looking like Ben Revere might be the leadoff guy. And then Michael Young. Let's talk about how big of a year Michael Young could have coming to the bandbox at Citizens Bank Park, a small ballpark. He's a guy that hit .338 2 years ago and led the American League in hits.
Yeah, he's definitely has the potential to have a great year, but he's getting old, and a lot of guys on the Phillies are getting up in age. But at the same time, they do have the potential to do well, and look for them to be kind of a sleeper team. I think they actually have a lot of potential. They're just a little bit older, but they have a couple. Ben Revere, as you mentioned, he's a young talent that should do well for the team. Look, if they're healthy, I think they have a decent shot at making a playoff run.
How big is the pickup of John Lannon, especially with the problems Roy Halladay's facing as a back of the rotation type of guy?
Right, yeah,
I
definitely agree. Anytime you get a good established pitcher in the rotation, I think you definitely solidify your rotation a little bit more, and that would definitely be a key to some of their pitching success if they do that.
Now the Marlins, they went the other way this offseason. Basically, fire sold their whole team to the Toronto Blue Jays. You got Josh Johnson, Jose Reyes going up there. The only guy left in the lineup really is Giancarlo Stanton, who obviously we're going to expect to have a monster year, but do you think the Marlins can even get close to contending with the lineup they have?
I don't see it this year, maybe a couple years down the road. That seems to be their mold. They've done that in the past in 1997 and 2003 when they had young talent like Josh Beckett and Miguel Cabrera to lead them to a World Series. And, they do well with that, but at the same time this year, it's looking pretty doubtful. They do have Ricky Nolasco, who's another veteran pitcher, and they did pick up Placido Polanco, but other than that, I don't really see them making much of an impact in the division.
And lastly, with the Mets, not really too many big splashes this offseason. What do you think they're trying to establish this year, coming off a pretty down year last year?
Well, they want to please the fan base, I believe. They re-signed David Wright to a long-term contract, which was a big thing for them because the fans really wanted that. And at the same time, they did trade R.A. Dickey, who was the Cy Young winner. That doesn't happen too often. But I think they did receive a lot of good prospects in return. They received Travis d'Arnaud, who's a young catching prospect who certainly will be a good hitter in the future, and they got a couple of good pitching prospects.
Now, in terms of guys that maybe aren't rookies, but you think are going to provide big offensive production for teams this year, let's go through each team real quick. Who do you think is going to be a big guy this year for the Marlins?
For the Marlins, you have to go with Mike Stanton, the power left field, very good power hitter. He's hit the ball like 500 feet at times, so he definitely has potential. He's going to be the guy to look for. And for the pitching aspect for them, Ricky Nolasco, established veteran pitcher, he's pretty good.
For the Nationals, I'm looking for Bryce Harper this year to completely break out. Last year, pretty good rookie year, 22 home runs. He batted 260 around then.
270,
yeah, 270, about 60 RBIs.
Right.
I'm looking for this year to be close to 30 home runs, close to 100 RBIs, and close to 300 average. He's a five-tool player. I mean, he's a superstar, and I think he's going to break out. What do you think about the Phils?
The Phils, Howard, if he's back, I think he will definitely make a good impact. If he cuts down on some of the strikeouts, looks for, if he's more selective with his pitches, I think he will drive the ball far, obviously. And Chase Utley, I think, two impact players in the past who have the potential to make a big impact this year, too.
For the Braves, I think Freddie Freeman's gonna have a year this year that puts him in the elite class of first baseman. He's a guy that we can see he can hit close to 300. He's going to hit 30 home runs. He's going to drive in close to 100 runs. And with the lineup the way it is, it's just going to bolster his numbers even more. I think he's going to become part of the elite. And then lastly, how about the Mets?
Well, for the Mets, I believe that David Wright, as long as he stays healthy, I think he will have a very good year. He showed a very good sample during the World Baseball Classic. He was one of the team leaders. And I would also look for Ike Davis. Ike Davis is going to be very good. His average was pretty low last year, but he did hit 32 home runs. So look for his power to make a big impact. And and d'Arnaud, if they call d'Arnaud up, and Matt Harvey. I would look out for Matt Harvey too. Had a very good year last year. Had a 2.73 ERA, and he didn't get the run support he needed, but he will definitely be a big impact guy. Real
quick before we go back to the studio, 1 through 5 predictions this year in the NL East.
I got the Nationals, I got the Braves, Phillies, Mets, Marlins. I'd say in that order, yeah.
I'm going to go with the Braves, Nationals, Phillies, Marlins, Mets, only because as a Phillies fan, I can't do the whole Mets thing. I'm sorry.
You're in last? You got the Mets in last?
I got the Mets in last.
I
know you put the Phillies in third. You were more generous.
I was being generous, yeah.
You were more generous.
Trying to be more objective, but all right, we can do it that way.
That's all for today's Inside Pitch. We'll come back next week. We'll talk about the American League East and what they're doing. That'll be after opening day, so we'll come back then and we'll talk about the first week of the MLB season. Back to you guys in the studios. I'm Kenny Ayers alongside Evan Smith.